All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, they say that when it rains, it pours. And that when things start going bad for you, they tend to follow in a certain number, maybe in a group of 3 or a group of 7 or what have you. It certainly seems as if LeBron James is in a bit of a funk when it comes to his NBA career. Because if it's not one thing, it's another. The trade for Anthony Davis does not go through. He has the injury, what some people are calling a groin injury, what others are calling a sports hernia. Then many of his younger, more prominent players, they get hurt. Not only will they not be back for the season, but it might compromise the Lakers' ability to package them in a potential trade for a big-name star like an Anthony Davis. Now LeBron is under even greater scrutiny by many of the basketball pundits and sports media journalists who may never have liked him in the first place. And now Walt Frazier is coming out and he's basically put the scope on LeBron James. And he's letting it be known that he does not believe that LeBron James's conduct is something that's appropriate for a player who has the league on his back right now, or at least allegedly has the league on his back. As of right now, LeBron James is still officially recognized as the face of the NBA. I think that the clock is ticking on LeBron's tenure in that role. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Collins, the worst season of LeBron James' career since he was a rookie, hitting a new low yesterday. In the Lakers' 124-123 loss to the Knicks, LeBron went 4 for 15 from the field in the fourth quarter, making it the worst shooting quarter in 16 years as a pro. The loss drops the Lakers to 31-39, their exact same record through 70 games as last season when they didn't have James.
In other words, LeBron has had no positive effect on this squad.
Basketball Hall of Fame point guard Clyde Frazier, who is a color commentator for Knicks coverage on MSG, didn't hold back on his thoughts about LeBron sitting apart from his teammates instead of being part of the huddle.
When you're in the face of the NBA, I think you should be more a part of your team, folks. No matter what is going on. In the public, you got to be a part of the team.
I agree. And I made this analogy in the Shannon Sharp video where Shannon Sharp responded to Walt Frazier. Whenever you're a part of a group, whether you're in a classroom or a boardroom setting, and you have the option to choose your own seat, if you willfully choose a seat in the back, what the instructor is going to infer from that is that you're not all in. You want to be away from the action, away from the information. For whatever reason, you're detached. And LeBron has to understand that, especially with the condition that this current team is in. It's not like this is a veteran team where they're operating on automatic. This is a group of young guys, and they need to be inspired by his presence. That's assuming that he's even capable at this point of inspiring them.
Maybe in the locker room, you're not, but you have to exude that type of togetherness in public, folks. And right now, we see he doesn't really care.
For more, let's get you back to First Take.
LeBron James has led the NBA in minutes the last 5 years.
Whoop-de-doo.
Okay, so when he comes out of the game, he grabs his pad, goes to the end of the bench, and he sits down for what, 2 minutes maybe? And here Clyde Frazier is talking about he's not engaged in the game. He's the face of the NBA. He needs to be better.
He does need to be better. And the proof that he needs to be better is that his team is 31-39. You think that Clyde Frazier would be saying this if the Lakers have 45 wins right now? Of course not. What Clyde is saying has a direct correlation or is an after effect of LeBron James' very low impact on the overall outcome of the Lakers season, because at the end of the day, teams are evaluated based on wins and losses, and they have the same record that they had last year. So what exactly is LeBron James doing? Why should he be above criticism?
I'm going to tell you this, Clyde Frazier, because you don't know. Last night after the game, I went and had dinner with LeBron.
And you paid.
And you know what? 6 of his teammates was with him.
Were they the same 6 that LeBron tried to have traded, or were they a different 6?
So if he's not a good teammate, he's not a good leader, he wouldn't be hanging with these guys off the floor in New York City.
How would you know that? I need to know the 6 teammates that were with him to eat dinner with you on your tab. You know, there are a bunch of D-level former NBA players like Dante Jones and this dude here who make the rounds on many of these sports cable networks to defend LeBron James's honor. You know why that is? Because if it were not for LeBron James, their NBA careers would have been 3 or 4 years briefer than they actually were. LeBron James gave them extra life to their career, so they feel like they owe LeBron. I understand that. The James Joneses, the Dante Joneses, the Damon Joneses, anybody last name Jones, LeBron James is going to help you stay in the league. But that does not mean that LeBron James is above scrutiny or criticism.
Come on. And this is not just for Clyde. This is for everybody that's taking shots at LeBron James.
Ain't nobody taking shots at LeBron James. They're just speaking the truth. Get over it.
Stop it, because it's not warranted and it's not fair.
And it's making me cry.
Hey, if you don't know, now you know. So that was LeBron's former teammate Damon Jones responding this morning. He was here in New York on Get Up about Frazier's comments ripping into LeBron during a Laker timeout in which the King, you saw, he sat at the end of the bench away from coaches and teammates and took a lot of heat for it. Stephen A., what's your reaction to Frazier?
Walt Clyde Frazier was correct. He has the right to speak his mind the same way that he's had his right to speak his mind about Kevin Durant.
Well, I'm incredibly disappointed when Walt Clyde Frazier. I think he was completely out of line.
No, he wasn't.
And I've known Clyde for many years, got a lot of love for him. He's been doing the Knicks.
I mean, let's just analyze this for a moment. Clyde Frazier says that LeBron James really doesn't care at this point in the season. What has LeBron James said or done that would make anyone think that he does really care? And if he does really care, according to someone who supports LeBron as an unabashed fan, what is it that supposedly he cares about? He's already on record as saying that they're not going to make the playoffs. LeBron James is on record as saying that he sees no difference between his team and the New York Knicks. So he's still playing based on what? Based on an NBA mandate that he has to play. Do you really believe that LeBron James will still be playing if Adam Silver were to give him the green light to sit out for the rest of the year? So why is it wrong for Clyde Frazier to say that he really doesn't care?
His broadcast since 1987. He's synonymous with the New York Knicks franchise. It's the last time we won. I say we because I'm a diehard New York Knicks fan because I'm a native New Yorker. Last time we won a championship was in 1973. He would be the person that helped deliver that championship. Y'all put me in a position where I actually have to sit up here and come to the defense of LeBron James. I can't even put up the particular, act great father, great husband, great. I can't do any of that because to me, it's gotten ridiculous. Now, when I call out LeBron James, I'm talking basketball. And I'm talking about his penchant for wanting to control the narrative. You want to tell me that LeBron James wants to control the narrative? I'm agreeing with you all day. You want to tell me sometimes he's a bit too sensitive and passive-aggressive because he uses his voice to articulate his position about something. Okay, so be it. I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only thing that you can say about LeBron James. To sit up there and...
Well, there's quite a bit more that you could say about LeBron James. Media manipulator, Luciferian, hoax artist. There's some things that you could say about him. There are also some very good things that you could say about him as well. But let's not act like there are no skeletons in his closet. I'm still waiting on that video footage of the perpetrator who allegedly spray painted the word nigger on his front gate. Still waiting on that. Almost 2 years later.
And to say he doesn't care. This man's at Madison Square Garden last night. It's the only time of the year that the Lakers are at Madison Square Garden. They're not going to the playoffs. They're 31-39, the same record that they had over the last couple of years. They're on a fast track to nowhere unless they succeed in free agency. What is LeBron doing? He's dropping 33 points. He's playing 35 minutes.
Stephen A. Smith, if LeBron's going to play, he's going to play to get his numbers. You think that LeBron's only going to play 17 minutes and average 16 points a game? LeBron's attitude is, if I have to keep playing, I'm going to get my numbers. Because 30 years from now, people are going to be able to look at my stats and say, wow, in year 16, he averaged 27, 8, and 8. Jordan never did that. That's what he's playing for, man.
What do you mean he doesn't care? Because he was sitting on the edge of the bench? You know what? Clyde is wrong. And in this particular instance, he didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
Not true, sir. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You guys should invite Clyde Frazier on your show because he's 100% correct. Once again, there's no doubt in my mind if Magic Johnson, Jeannie Buss, and Adam Silver came to LeBron James and said, LeBron, we want you to sit out for the rest of the season. There's no way in the world that he's going to say, no, I want to keep playing through it for my team and for my teammates. We still have a chance because still the Lakers have not been numerically eliminated from the playoff push. We know that for all intents and purposes, they're not going to make the playoffs, but numerically they have not. But LeBron is on record as saying that there's no difference between his Lakers squad and the New York Knicks. That's how he tried to smooth away the loss in the Garden. So if he believes that his team is no better than the worst team in the NBA, what really is he saying? He's saying that he does not care about this current team.
Let's just call it what it is. He was talking to Tyson Chandler. Prior to that, he was playing around with Lance Stevenson and Lonzo Ball, who were also on the end of the bench.
Right, but what does that have to do with LeBron James being fully engaged in his team potentially winning the basketball game? Is that what leadership is? That he can come to Lonzo Ball and do a silly handshake, or he can joke around with that mentally disturbed Lance Stevenson? Knock it off.
But more importantly than that, the reason why I feel the need on this particular day to come to the defense of LeBron James, we have to take into account at some point in time your resume matters, your history matters. Forget the three-time champion, forget the four-time league MVP. How about we look at the 17-year-old that came into the league with expectations, has exceeded expectations, and oh, by the way,
Stephen A. Smith, the conversation is not about what LeBron James has done. As most top-level professional athletes will tell you, your resume gets updated every day. LeBron James right now is expected to be the leader of a group of young men on the LA Lakers. It's not about what he did at 17 years old. It's not about how he made it out the ghetto of Akron at 15 years old, dominating at St. Mary's or whatever the hell high school he went to, St. Vincent, St. Michael, whatever the hell Catholic school he went to. It's about what is he supposed to be doing right now for his squad. And all he's done is create chaos and anarchy in that locker room since he's been there.
Throughout his entire career, the only blemish, character-wise, on his entire career, spanning 16 years, is the decision.
Well, I can't quite agree with that one. LeBron James has a series of blemishes on his career, the main one being his performance in the 2011 NBA Finals against the Dallas Mavericks.
In terms of how it was handled, the decision to go from Clyde.
I don't even think he handled it wrong.
I'm just talking about the press conference with Jim Greener. That's it. That's the only thing. There is nothing that this man has done for any of us to go on national television, local television, or radio and say there's a character issue. You could say the fans think this way. You can sit up there and say, okay, the fans think that might give them fodder because fans that want to be critical with him might say that. But for you yourself to sit up there and say, he doesn't care. Come on, man. That's just irresponsible.
No, he doesn't care, Stephen A. Smith. And what he means by that is LeBron just wants to get his numbers. That's what Clyde was saying in a roundabout way.
He said was, it looks like he doesn't. He's really talking about optics.
Okay, well,
and I'm going to defend. That's not what I heard. I'm going to defend my guy, Clyde Frazier.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and defend him, Max Kellerman.
Go ahead.
The man who delivered the Knicks the only championship the year I was born, although I wasn't alive.
Yes, and the most classic Pumas.
By the way,
go ahead.
Clyde Frazier, you're talking about LeBron's resume. Clyde Frazier's no LeBron James. I get it. But the two biggest Game 7s he ever played was Game 7 in the finals against the Lakers in 69-70, where he went for 36, 19, and 7, shooting 71% from the floor against Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain and these guys, and going 12 for 12 from the line.
The year you were born.
The year I was... No, that was a couple years before I was born. Okay. The year I was born, the biggest Game 7 he played, where they really needed him, was Game 7 against Boston that year to get to the finals, where they also beat the Lakers in a Game 7 where he played very well. But 25, 10, and 7. Clyde Frazier was not only a Hall of Famer, but with the money on the line. Lord.
He was a man. He was a man.
Point is, LeBron's got a resume. Clyde does too. He has standing to say what he feels.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
I mean, anyone should say what they feel, but particularly when Clyde Frazier says something, I don't think we can just dismiss it. What's he really saying? What's the gist of what he's saying?
Well, I won't quite agree that people should say what they feel. I think that you should say what you think. I believe that there's a difference there. Because what you feel and what you think might be two totally different things. And when I say what you think, not just the first thing that goes through your brain, but after you have made sure that you evaluated the situation properly, then you can bring forth whatever sentiment you want to bring forth. But to just say what you feel, no, that's confusion.
First of all, LeBron is very image conscious, correct or no, Stephen A?
Yeah.
To a degree. He's image conscious to a degree whenever it benefits him. When it does not benefit him, then he no longer cares.
Yes. LeBron, right? You think? Listen, when you do what he's always done, you can go sit by yourself, whatever you do for a couple minutes, sure. when you make the finals every year. But we know what happens if you don't make the playoffs on the team that many people thought should make the playoffs. We know what happens if you're losing to the lowly New York Knicks. We know that all of a sudden those things get criticized. LeBron knows this, especially when you miss almost every shot in the fourth quarter and have your shot
That was
blocked.
in the first quarter.
Understand, and have your shot blocked to end the game. The point is, Clyde was proven right. There's something wrong with the chemistry on the Lakers.
Thank you, sir.
Now, let's start with the idea that LeBron is a coach killer. He is a coach killer. Magic Johnson was a coach killer. How do I define coach killer? A guy who, when he sees this coach is not right for me and therefore us, says, let's get rid of him.
That's not what a coach killer is, sir. What a coach killer is a player who decides that he's going to destroy his coach no matter what the coach says or does. Because he's not the coach who was brought in while LeBron was there. That is LeBron James. LeBron James wants any coach who's already there when he gets there fired. That's what a coach killer is to me. Just in general, that slogan or that phrase, quote unquote, coach killer, implies or connotes that no matter what you do, you cannot please a certain person. That is why, once again, LeBron James had his greatest success in Miami when Pat Riley told him no. And that proves right there that LeBron James is not someone who tries to get coaches fired because he does not feel that they're best for him. He just tries to get coaches fired, period.
Good. Magic was entitled to that, I believe, and so is LeBron. It's not about some higher principle that you can never go kill the coach. It's about what's best for the team and the franchise. So if LeBron doesn't feel like he can win with Luke Walton, kill him. That's okay.
He said, if LeBron doesn't feel like he can win with Luke Walton, kill him.
I don't have a problem with that. But don't do it on the one hand and then try to shield your reputation on the other.
Agreed.
If Clyde brings that up or someone brings that up, fine. Now, when Damon Jones brings up they went to dinner, I'll bet you Kyle Kuzma and Brandon Ingram weren't at that dinner.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You're on fire, Mr. Kellerman.
Dinner? I bet you Brandon Ingram wasn't anyway. The point is, what's their trading chit? What is their piece that is worth the most in a trade? Probably Brandon Ingram. Who appears to be not really gelling with? Probably Brandon Ingram. LeBron, if KCP is there, do I believe it? Sure. Lonzo, apparently he and Lonzo get along. Do I believe it? Sure. With some of the other vets that he kind of brought in, or at least okayed, do I believe it? Sure. But the young players who were already there, the fact that that all didn't work is the reason they didn't make the playoff.
Thank you, sir.
Wait a minute. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
No, actually, that has everything to do with what we're talking about. The real issue is that many of you pundits on television who are trying to attack Clyde are focusing on the microcosmic aspect of what Clyde is saying as opposed to the macrocosmic aspect. Clyde did not say what he said just because he saw LeBron James sitting at the end of the bench. He said what he said because of what he's been witnessing for this entire season. Also, in accord with the fact that the Lakers are only 31-39. So yes, the team chemistry is certainly associated with what Clyde Frazier said yesterday.
Because what we're talking about is, first of all, we ain't questioning not only are we not questioning the resume of Clyde Frazier, we're not questioning the character of Clyde Frazier. We both known him for years. He's a really good.
Well, no, Steve, actually you do kind of question the character of Clyde Frazier when you state that Clyde does not know what he's talking about. Because that is what you stated. You said in this particular situation, Clyde does not know what he's talking about because he said that LeBron James does not really care. So you're saying that Clyde speaks pertaining to subjects that he has no knowledge of. And when Clyde is speaking, he's acting as a representative of the New York Knicks and basketball overall. So when Clyde, brings forth or puts forth a certain sentiment, the expectation is that he's speaking from a professional background. So what you're saying when you state that Clyde does not know what he's talking about, you're saying that he's not speaking professionally. So that is questioning his character to a degree. Really what you're in a roundabout way alleging is that Clyde might have a personal axe to grind against LeBron James.
We both known him for years. He's a really good guy. We're talking about his statement from yesterday. Nothing more, nothing less. This is not a referendum on a character of Clyde Frazier because he said.
It appears to be.
He said what he said. No, we're talking about the comment specifically and in an isolated form. I disagree with what he said. I think it was beyond the pale. Why? Because you have to take into account what he's alluding to. All that other stuff that you brought up doesn't matter. At the end of the day, LeBron James' resume, considering what it is, you're trying to tell me that it's okay and justifiable to go into a soliloquy about how you're trying to validate how he doesn't care because he sits on the edge of the bench, just like Kobe did and various others. Excuse me, I've been at the goal.
Well, you know what, Stephen A. Smith, I have news for you. Kobe Bryant did not really seem to care at the very end of his career either. Now, LeBron James is far more productive as he's nearing the end. But Kobe Bryant, circa 2015, 2016, did not seem to care at all. And he certainly tried to separate himself from his teammates as well while he collected his check. At least LeBron James is being offensively productive. But once again, what Clyde is referring to is the fact that LeBron James is supposed to be trying to lead this team and steward this team and change the atmosphere, change the overall ambiance of the squad, and he's not doing so. He's just out there to get his numbers.
Garden when Kobe was there. Kobe was on the edge of the bench. No one would dare ever accuse Kobe of not caring. And it's not to compare LeBron James to Kobe. It's to compare the incident itself to LeBron. LeBron is sitting there high-fiving with teammates. He was talking with them, joking around. It was in the first quarter of the game. Come on, man. When you consider the level of momentum that's being thrown in his direction, including by people like me, for crying out loud. At least I'm talking basketball.
Oh, we have to play the violin for LeBron. Get the fuck out of here, man.
To sit up there and say that the man doesn't care, that's not right.
Something is rotten in the land of Denmark. Is there something rotten in the land of LA? Yes or no?
It's been rotten for 5 years.
Yes, but what?
Right, but Steve, this is before LeBron James got there. LeBron James is there and it's still rotten, so that means that he's a part of the rottenness. Why is it that you're not understanding this?
We're talking about this iteration of the team with LeBron James. No one's questioning LeBron James's resume. What Clyde is pointing out...
No, they are questioning his love. People have been questioning his love, whether or not he cares.
Well,
come on, man.
Well, how could you not question that when he chose to go to a team that clearly was in the process of just becoming decent, not even good? And then he acts surprised when he gets there. That means that he had ulterior motives, Stephen A. Smith, and they were not basketball.
I believe going to LA was strictly a basketball decision.
No.
Thank you, sir.
No.
If that is buzzing kind of around the team, if there is something rotten, there's something not right, if there's a feeling that there are more than just basketball considerations, and then you don't make the playoffs, then the thing that you've always done, separating yourself from the team, suddenly will be looked at differently.
Thank you, sir. Could not sum that up better myself. That's why I basically stated in the Shannon Sharp video. You cannot compare the fact that LeBron James sat at the very end of the bench since his first year in Cleveland in the first iteration to what LeBron James is doing right now in LA. His role is completely different. There are high expectations for what they believe he should be bringing to the squad, not just points, rebounds, and assists.
But what I'm saying to you is that when you have the resume, I'm not talking about numbers. I'm talking about minutes. I'm talking about what you do to take care of yourself. I'm talking about what you do in terms of the work that you put in. We have an obligation to...
Stephen A. Smith, it's a team game. It's a team game. What Clyde is talking about is not LeBron James' conditioning level. He's talking about what LeBron James is doing to inspire his team and to show them that they're engaged. That's it.
To take that into consideration too. You know how many cats I see? One of the things we don't just marvel at the greatness of Russell Westbrook as a talent. We marvel at his conditioning. Yep. We don't just marvel.
You marvel at that shit. I've said for the longest time that Russell Westbrook probably has the lowest basketball IQ of any supernaturally talented player that I've ever seen. You guys get caught up in all that shit.
Marvel at LeBron James' exploits. We marvel at his physique, at his conditioning, at his commitment to taking care of himself.
Could block LeBron's last shot because LeBron could barely get off the ground at that point in the game.
Thank you, sir.
We can talk about that. Well, you know what? You might have positioned yourself wrong because we've seen him get off the ground in recent games. So that's just one play. All I'm trying to say to you is that when you look at him, we can call out LeBron James. God knows I don't hesitate to, but not over something like this. I mean, it's beyond petty. It's excessive now. It's kind of low. If you can do that.
Well, what it was Walt Frazier's opportunity to say something about LeBron that he had been noticing for the entire season. He saw a moment there with LeBron sitting at the end of the bench, and he chose to speak on how he's felt about LeBron over the course of this last year or so. And that's his right.
That to
He
him.
looked disengaged, and he needs to set the tone.
He looked disengaged 35 minutes, 33 points.
Thank you, Molly Karam. It's as simple as that. LeBron looks disengaged and he needs to set the tone on the team.
What I'm saying, that's what people are saying. They feel like he
It's
looked
not
disengaged,
just about engagement,
and that
or
he should be
disengagement.
setting the tone and be the leader.
It's about the feeling on the team. Do the guys want to play for each other, with each other, all those kind of things? Would you categorize the Lakers as that kind of team this year?
No.
And then who's the leader on the Lakers?
Thank you, sir. Leader in quotes.
And I'm
So
saying,
it comes with the
and
territory.
I'm saying to you, you can question
Losing. It also
you,
comes
you
with
can
losing.
question a lot of things, but to say he doesn't care, considering his resume, that's kind of low. That's all I'm trying to say. That's
All right.
kind of low.
Let's leave it on that note.
That's not low. As a matter of fact, it ain't low enough because LeBron never came to the Lakers to win in the first place. If Clyde really wanted to get low, which is really appropriate, he could have went there.
No.
For that to be said,
You agree, though, he came to LA for reasons other than just basketball?
absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
What do you mean I agreed with it? I reported it. It's been saying that.
So
been
the thing that
saying it all
he,
year.
so it's not just that the only thing he cares about on the Lakers is basketball, correct?
Heck, was he in Cleveland? Did all he care about was basketball in Cleveland?
But LeBron James being in Cleveland was not strategic, at least in accord with his association with the entertainment industry. The reason why LeBron James went back to Cleveland was to re-ingratiate himself with Middle America, because that's where he's from. He never wanted to feel like he couldn't go back to where he was from and there was that negative taste. And beyond that, he wants to own the Cavaliers one day. If LeBron had never went back to Cleveland, he would never have been welcomed as the potential owner of the Cavaliers, which is what he intends to be.
Well,
Never.
yes, as a matter of fact.
Did all he care about? No.
Yeah, he
went to
wanted to
Miami.
bring a championship to Cleveland.
But he
Excuse
still
me,
had other
excuse me,
projects and things he was working
Excuse me. When he won the championship, he spent 2 more years in Cleveland.
Trying to win another one.
Okay, well, what I'm saying
Got
is,
to the finals
so
every time.
did we see a guy that wasn't trying to win in LA?
I would say this. When your reasons for being somewhere are anything other than winning the championship, and you just acknowledged they were, it
No,
wasn't
I said that wasn't the only thing.
right, or
You didn't
anything
ask me
other
if
than. I'm not saying it's not included in the equation.
Right.
Then you will once again be under increased scrutiny if the team isn't functioning as though they're playing for each other.
Agreed.
Because you've said it on this show. Cats looking at him like, what's the motivation?
I said they were looking at him. I didn't agree with it. That's the equivalent
Guys,
of saying
of
that Kyle,
course there's going to be
because of how
bad
he
blood.
dresses
They were
wasn't-
going to...
Well, Stephen A. Smith, if you have reported that other members of his own team or other basketball aficionados or people who have been well placed in the basketball world are looking at LeBron James with a skeptical eye, how could you be that upset about what Walt Clyde Frazier has said? Why? Because he said it publicly as opposed to privately?
They were going to
Prioritizing
trade
basketball.
the whole damn team for Anthony Davis. It's going to be awkward. Let's keep in mind that.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. Okay, so now we're going to jump forward. This person here, Seth Greenberg, he tends to tell the truth about LeBron James also. So let's see what they have to say here.
You're such good energy, Coach. You know that. Seth Greenberg here with us. Hey, Coach, before we talk a little basketball, though, what's your thoughts on LeBron? You see him on the end of the bench?
Yeah, that's a joke. I mean, you're talking about...
I agree. It is a big joke.
about trying to be a
stop
leader.
it,
You're
Coach.
sitting at Stephen A. Give me a second. He's sitting at the end of the bench like it's not my fault. He's talking to Tyson Chandler because that's his guy, all right? But you know what? He's got a new group of guys, the guys that are actually playing with him. If you want to be a leader, you've got to get people to follow you.
Thank you, sir.
If you're going to get people to follow you, you've got to be inclusive. You've got to get into the circle so they can be with you. Separating yourself from the group, I don't care.
The main problem right now is that there's a generational difference. I don't give a damn how much LeBron James tries to act as if he's so immersed in the hip-hop world with the 2 Chainz music and all that other shit. There's a generational gap that LeBron James is fighting within himself. And it erupts out anyway in many of his poor dealings with his younger teammates. Because it's going to happen. When you hit your early to mid-30s, there's going to be a generational gap that becomes more and more apparent between yourself and people who are in their early 20s. You think differently, you listen to different music, things of that nature. LeBron is trying to fight that by still dressing like one of these little young dudes with the super tight skinny jeans and the tight ass dad hats and all that other stuff. At the end of the day, dude, you're 34, 35 years old. it's okay if you still want to keep up with some of the fashions, but you're not going to get along with younger players like how you do older players. That's why he tends to speak more to Tyson Chandler as well as Rajon Rondo.
This is not my team. This is not my fault. I'm going to go get my dudes. That's fine. Until you get your dudes, that's your team.
Coach,
and if you want to lead, you got to be inclusive.
Thank you, sir. I agree.
I'm not disagreeing with your statement in terms of what a leader, what comes with being a leader. I'm saying to use this as an example is a poor excuse to attack that subject. LeBron has given us a bevy of other things that we could undress and attack that would bring those very things into question. But not that. In the first quarter yesterday, to go sit at the end of the bench where he always sits anyway, coach. Come on. Now, by the way, coach, this man, one of the greatest player in the world, went healthy. All right, averaged 27 in the I know that now.
I agree with you, Max Kellerman. I'm not quite sure if I can call LeBron James the best player, but the thing is so funny with Max Kellerman. He's the person who said that LeBron James was light years ahead of everybody. So all of a sudden, these other players have made up light years in disparity between themselves and LeBron James in 3/4 of a season.
Not anymore, but averaged 27 in his sleep. Coach, you trying to tell me you'd have a problem with LeBron if he was on your team? That's where we're going?
I'd have a problem if I had a young group and he was the leader and he was the focal point of everything we were doing, and he wasn't doing everything humanly possible to try to be inclusive and teach these guys how to be pro.
What do you want?
Agreed.
What message is that sent to those young kids?
But whenever you have LeBron James as the primary player on your squad, you have to understand that by nature there's going to be a separation between himself and the other players because the entire offense has to revolve around him and the entire defense. So just naturally there's going to be a fissure there.
Coach, I have a different approach to the argument because I'm basically with you on this. But what about this? LeBron would not say this publicly, but what if he is sending that message, which pretty obviously he is, I think, to me. They're not going to the playoffs anyway. This group, there's a bunch of veterans on one-year deals, most of whom won't be back anyway. Some of these young guys are going to get traded. We all know it. So who cares if he goes to sit at the end of the bench? He is sending a message.
Optics.
And part of it is to the fans. The optics are. Part of that message is, listen, this garbage you saw this year ain't going to happen again next year. What's wrong with that?
It better not happen again, Nick.
If that's his MO, then that's his MO. But all that does is lend credence and validity to many of Walt Clyde Frazier's statements. And to your credit, Max Kellerman, you understand that, and you decided that you were not going to join in on the lynch party against Walt Frazier because he said something very truthful and insightful about the mainstream liberal sports media's boothang LeBron James.
Next year, because obviously that move to LA, and that move to LA was more than just basketball, let's face it. But you know what? Forget about LeBron. It's the greatest 3 weeks in basketball.
Let's
the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. We'll see how things go for LeBron James and the Lakers heading into next season. So peace.